Hi, boys and girls. Today we talked about multi-step problems using the order of operations. So the order of operations are that you complete the steps of a problem when written as an equation in a certain order. So if we're looking at our little key here, P is for parentheses, E is for exponents, and we're not going to really worry about that this year, but when you're in middle school, you'll get to learn about the exponents, but when you get to that point, always know that that would be your next step. Then we have multiplication or division and addition or subtraction. All right, so when you're looking at an equation, you're going left to right, and you're doing the operations in this order, whichever come first. If parentheses are first, then that's what you do first. If you see any multiplication in the equation, you do that next, okay, because we're not worrying about exponents this year. Then if you see division, or you do that next. So left to right, whichever comes first. Now in the past, we've called this PEMDAS, PEMDAS, or you can remember the order of operations by remembering this little rhyme. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Here are some other catchy phrases if one of these are easier for you to remember. Okay, so if you were to solve this equation using our PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, what happens if you're like when you're reading left to right, which operation comes first? There's no parentheses, there's no exponents, but I do see multiplication. So I'm going to multiply first. So I'm going to do 6 times 2, which is 12. And then there is no division, but I do see addition. So then I would add 12 plus 3 equals 15. All right, so now let's look at a larger example, but we're still thinking about PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we have 5 times 17 plus 5 times 20 minus 32. Wow, that's a lot. Well, there are no parentheses, so I can't do that first. There are no exponents this year, so I'm not going to do that. But I do see multiplication, and I see it twice. So I'm going to multiply first. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we have 17 times 5, and we have 20 times 5. 7 times 5 is 35. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8. 0 times 5 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. All right. So I've multiplied. Now let's look at our PEMDAS diagram here. What's next? Well, there's no division. Looking left from this side to this side, left to right. But I do see addition. So I'm going to add this number plus this number, which equals 185. And then our next operation, if we're looking at this, would be subtraction. So first addition, that was before the subtraction, so that's why I'm doing it first. And then the subtraction. So I'm going to do 185 minus 32. So 5 take away 2 is 3, 8 take away 3 is 5, and then we have 1. So our answer would be 153 using the order of operations. All right, now we're going to use the order of operations, though, using a multi-step word problem, which we practiced yesterday. So Christina's computer has 3 memory cards with 63 gigabytes of space. And each 2 memory cards with 16 gigabytes of space each. So she has 3 memory cards with 63 gigabytes, and she has 2 memory cards with 16 gigabytes. The files on her computer use 78 gigabytes of space. So how much space does her computer have left? So if we were going to put this into an equation to then later use the order of operations to solve, let's think about the steps that we would need to figure this out. I would need to do 3 times 63. Okay, and if we're really thinking about what we did yesterday, we would underline what we're trying to figure out first. We're trying to figure out how much space she has left after they use this amount of gigabytes. So now I'm looking back to the word problem and I'm thinking about what information in the problem that I need to solve this, and I'm writing an equation to go with that information. So we need 3 memory cards of 63 plus 2 memory cards of 16. Then I'm going to subtract the 78 gigabytes of space, and that's going to be equal how much space. I'm just using this variable, an unknown number, so I can use any number. I could have used a letter. I could have used an N for number. I used S for space, okay, which would be how much space her computer has left. So then I'm thinking about, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS. Are there any parentheses? No. Are there any exponents? Not this year, but I do see multiplication, and that comes first. So I'm going to multiply, and I see another multiplication, so I'm going to multiply that first. So 63 times 3, and 6 times 3 is 18. Then we have 16 times 2, and I just happen to know that that's 32. So we'll just put that there. Okay. So then we don't have any division. Okay. Please excuse my dear. Oops, sorry. I wrote the wrong letter. And then we have here addition. So I do see that we have addition. So I'm going to add 189 plus 32. 9 and 2 is 11. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. And then last but not least, our last order of operations would be subtraction. So then I would have 221 minus 78. So we have one time minus 8, and we can't do that. So we have 3. 1 take away 7. We can't do that. So now it's 11. Take away 7. Okay. And then we had 1 left over here, which is 143. So the answer would be there are 143 gigabytes of space left on the computer. Whew, that was a lot of work. Okay, so I have one problem here that I would like for you to try. So it's a word problem, and you're going to read the word problem and remember to apply the order of operations when you're ready to solve it. So first, see if you can come up with an equation to go with the steps that you would use in solving this problem. So pause the computer, pause your show here, and solve it, and then when you get back to it, see if your answer matches mine. Okay, so our next slide we have here, remember PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, either multiplication or division, or addition or subtraction next. So when I read that word problem, it was 3 times 25 stamps, then 5 times 24 stamps, and then minus 35 stamps. Okay, and that would equal S. And we had that minus 35 because she gave 35 away to a friend. All right, so if I'm looking at PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, I see the first order of operations that we have here starting at the left. is multiplication. Then I see another multiplication. All right, so I multiplied 3 times 25, then 5 times 24, and then it's the next order of operations here. There's no division. All right, would be addition. So that's why I put here that we're going to add those together. 75 plus 120 is 195. And then finally we're going to subtract 195 minus the 30. That's for 35. That would be the last step if we're following the order of operations. So S equals 160 stamps. How did you do? All right, now okay, that was, these were problems that we had in our book today, so we don't have to do that. So good luck with your homework tonight, and you're doing a great job on Canvas. See you tomorrow.